Here are some notable unrestricted free agents. Keep in mind, teams have until February 25th to franchise or transition players. They have until March 4th to tender them. Terrell Owens, one of the biggest names on that list. Do you think he might look good somewhere in the NFC North?
Sure. It's called the Chicago Bears. And the reason I say it's particularly because the Chicago Bears don't have any draft choice. I mean, I'm sure they got a few. But their high-quality picks are all gone.
First and second are gone. Yep.
Chicago is in desperate need of a franchise caliber wide receiver. And yes, T.O. is a little older, so what? He's still as good as it gets in the National Football League. And so they need Torrey Holt, another guy. The Chicago Bears, I just think, are in just desperate need to get somebody to come in there and who knows how to play the position of wide receiver.
Well, Nate Burleson's a guy who's available
Another
too.
Good one.
Seattle Seahawks. I'm going a little bit off the grid. I'm looking at the running back class. We only have guys like LaDainian Tomlinson, Larry Johnson, Kevin Falk. I like Chester Taylor of the Minnesota Vikings. He's a guy who doesn't get a lot of reps playing behind Adrian Peterson, but he's a valuable rotational type of running back who could fill a void a lot like we saw Pierre Thomas do for the New Orleans Saints with their rotation of running back. He doesn't necessarily need to be the number one guy, but he could fit into a lot of systems, Jamie, catching the ball.
Houston Texans would be a great little spot.
He'd be great. And there's a team that really needs some help in the running game and the way they throw the ball. He started for a couple of years there before Adrian Peterson came along. I think he's somebody who could add tremendous value. The Vikings said they want to retain him. I think they're going to have some competition to keep his services.
So last season that he was the main guy, he did go over 1,000 yards, so quite capable. Very important. Not a lot of carries, though, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Julius Peppers, what's the future there?
Well, I think he's an interesting player because, and I go back to the days when Charles Haley left the 49ers, went to Dallas, Dion going from the 49ers to Cowboys. He's a shift of power kind of a guy. Imagine him playing for that team right there. Adding that to the Philadelphia Eagles. Imagine adding a guy like Julius Peppers to the New England Patriots. I think that's the kind of value that he has. Already good teams that are established among the elite in the league, and I think he would be one of those kind of guys that would be one of those most disruptive forces in the National Football League.
Jamie, what about him staying in the division and going to the New Orleans Saints in case they dump Charles Grant?
Well, I mean, certainly that.
Now they'd have to do some little tinkering here. We're getting heavy CBA. We won't do that.
But they might have to outbid that blank fella down there in Atlanta too, because certainly they could use a little something on the other side as well, John Abraham.
Well, I'm going to go with another defensive end / outside linebacker who didn't work as an outside linebacker. That's Aaron Campman for the Green Bay Packers. He's coming off an ACL injury, so the health is going to be an issue there. But I think if he gets back into a 4-3 system and that knee is okay, he's somebody, he is violent with his hands. We know how good of a pass rusher he is. He was an ill fit, and the Packers survived well without him. I don't know if he'll be back with Green Bay in that 3-4. I think he's somebody who could be a rotational defensive end. Get him in there with Steve Spagnuolo with the St. Louis Rams, who knows how to work those rotational ends, maybe with the Giants. I think Aaron Campman, if he's still got something in that leg, could be a valuable pickup in a free agent.
But that's the big if, though.
That's a big if, absolutely.
Because he body type-wise, much like Osi Umenyiora, a lean guy playing defensive end. So it'll take you a couple of years before you can recover. So the question becomes, are you paying him the kind of coin that he wants, or are you paying the kind of coin that he probably deserves from the standpoint that he's coming off of injury? There's an unknown there. And so that becomes the biggest question for me is how much do you pay a guy like that who is a Pro Bowl caliber player coming off of a knee injury, and does he still want Pro Bowl caliber money?
Does have the production, though, and also the kind of high character guy that teams value so much.